the world goes quiet, and somehow that's when it gets louder inside. You didn't ask for this. You just wanted to rest. But the moment your head touches the pillow, it begins the replay, the rehearsal, the ruthless inventory of everything you said, didn't say, should have done, probably won't. Here's what nobody tells you. That's not weakness. That's not anxiety. That's your mind trying to survive in a world that never taught it how to stop. Tonight, we're going to change that. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. You close your eyes and the day replays itself, not the good parts. The mind skips past every moment you handled with grace and zooms straight in on the one thing you wish you could undo. Why does it do that? Because the brain is a survival machine. It doesn't care about peace. It cares about preparation. And in the silence of night, with no emails to answer and no tasks to hide behind, it finally has the space to do what it's been waiting all day to do. Drag everything unresolved into the light. Philosophers knew this long before neuroscience gave it a name. Marcus Aurelius, a man who commanded armies, governed millions, and watched people he loved die, still wrote privately about the battle inside his own head. Not a battle with enemies, a battle with himself. And if the most powerful man in the ancient world couldn't escape the chaos of his own mind at night, maybe the problem isn't that you're broken. Maybe the problem is that nobody gave you the tools. That's what this is. The tools. Here's something most people get completely wrong about nighttime anxiety. They think the thoughts are the problem. They're not. The avoidance is. Every uncomfortable feeling you glossed over during the day, every moment of insecurity you buried under busyness, every fear you silenced with your phone, it didn't disappear. It waited. The brain is patient like that. Carl Jung described it as the unconscious, the vast, dark basement of the mind where we store everything we're not ready to face, the uncomfortable truths, the grief we keep postponing, the identity questions we're afraid to answer. And here's the part that should stop you cold. Jung said the unconscious will direct your life, whether you look at it or not, whether you choose to face it or not. It doesn't ask permission. It just steers. So that flood of thoughts hitting you at 1 a.m., that's not the universe punishing you. That's your inner life finally getting a word in edgewise. The question isn't how to shut it up. The question is, what is it actually trying to tell you? When people hear the word Stoic, they picture someone emotionless, cold, detached. That couldn't be further from the truth. The Stoics felt everything. They just refused to be ruled by it. Epictetus, who spent years of his life in chains as a slave, taught a single idea that changed Western philosophy forever. Some things are within your power. Everything else is not. Read that again, slowly, because here's what that means for you tonight. The conversation that went wrong, not in your power, done. What someone thinks of you right now, not in your power. Whether tomorrow goes exactly as planned, not in your power. But how you breathe right now, yours. What you choose to focus on in this moment, yours. Whether you spiral or whether you anchor, entirely, completely yours. The mind that races at night isn't racing because of the problems themselves. It's racing because it's trying to control what was never controllable. It's spending energy on a door that was never going to open. The moment you name that, truly name it, the grip loosens. You don't need resolution to find rest. You need redirection. Not forced, not fake, just honest. Ask yourself, is there anything I can actually do about this right now? If yes, write it down. Put it somewhere tomorrow can find it. If no, that thought has no business being in your bed tonight. There's a technique so simple it almost sounds insulting, but it's backed by neuroscience, practiced by ancient philosophers, and it works every time. Name what you're feeling, not I am anxious, but there is anxiety here. That one-word shift is not semantic, it's surgical. When you say, I am anxious, you become the emotion. It fills you up. It defines the moment. But when you say, there is anxiety here, you step outside it. You become the observer, the witness, and the witness has power the reactor never does. Modern neuroscience calls this affect labeling, and studies confirm it reduces activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain that triggers your fight or flight response. You don't just feel calmer. You become calmer at a biological level. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception, the trained ability to look at a thought or emotion and ask, what actually is this? Not, what does this mean about me? Not, how do I fix this? Just, what is it? This is fear of failure. This is an old wound reopening. This is loneliness dressed as productivity. When you get honest about what's underneath the noise starts to quiet itself. Not because you solved anything, because you finally saw it. And that is where everything begins to shift. We've been taught to believe that letting go means losing, that if you stop thinking about a problem, you're abandoning it, that rest is a form of surrender, that peace has to be earned through enough suffering first. This is one of the most damaging lies our culture tells us. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by war, betrayal, plague, wrote this in the privacy of his journal. Very little is needed to make a happy life. Not victory, not certainty, not resolution. Very little. Because he had learned, the hard way, the human way, that the mind creates its own prison from things that don't exist yet. Tomorrow's disasters, next month's crises, conversations that haven't happened, futures that may never arrive. And the act of releasing those things isn't apathy, it's wisdom. Here's a simple practice the Stoics would recognize immediately. Before you sleep, draw an invisible line. On one side, everything you encounter today that is still within your reach. One action, one word, one decision you could make tomorrow to move it forward. Write it down. Done. On the other side, everything else, the judgment of others, the uncertainty ahead, the things you said that you can't unsay. Acknowledge them. Don't fight them. Just say, I see you. You're not mine to carry tonight. That's not weakness. That's the most sophisticated form of mental discipline there is, knowing what deserves your energy and what only pretends to. Your nervous system doesn't need you to solve everything. It needs to know you're not in danger. And the simple act of choosing what to release sends exactly that signal. Before the philosophy, before the journaling, before the frameworks, there is the breath. It sounds too simple. That's exactly why most people skip it. But here's the truth. Your breath is the only function of your nervous system that's both automatic and completely within your control. Every other system, heartbeat, digestion, hormones, runs on its own. The breath is the bridge. When you breathe slowly, you're not just calming down, You're literally telling your brain at a physiological level that the threat is past, that you're safe, that there's nothing left to outrun. The Stoics understood the body wasn't separate from the mind. Marcus didn't just philosophize. He walked. He breathed deliberately. He returned to the body when the mind became a battlefield. So tonight, when the thoughts surge, before you try to analyze them or argue with them or reason your way through them, just breathe. One slow inhale, a slightly longer exhale. That's it. That's the reset. Not because it's magic, because it's biology meeting philosophy, the body slowing down and giving the mind permission to follow. You don't have to fix anything right now. You just have to be here. Here's the thing about all of this that took me a long time to understand. The nights that feel unbearable, the 2 a.m. spirals, the chest-heavy silence, the thoughts that won't be reasoned with, they're not proof that something is wrong with you. They're proof that you're awake. Not literally. Awake in the deeper sense. Alive to the complexity of being human, carrying real things, feeling real weight. Every great mind in history, the emperors, the philosophers, the poets, they all knew this darkness. They all lay awake inside it. The difference wasn't that they found a way to make it stop. The difference was that they stopped needing it to. Seneca wrote that time is the only true currency we have, and so much of it is wasted on suffering we created ourselves. Jung said, the shadow, the part of us we fear and suppress, isn't something to destroy. It's something to understand. Marcus said that the mind, when trained, is the only fortress that can never be taken. What they're all pointing at, across centuries, across disciplines, is the same thing. Peace isn't a destination, it's a practice. It isn't found in the absence of difficulty. It's built, quietly, stubbornly, night by night, in the way you choose to meet what scares you. Not by defeating it, by refusing to abandon yourself in the middle of it. Tonight, before you sleep, try this. Take one breath and let it be slow. Name whatever is loudest in your mind, not to fix it, just to see it. Ask, is this mine to carry right now, or am I borrowing someone else's weight? And then, gently, put it down. Not because you don't care, because you care enough about tomorrow to arrive there rested. The Stoics didn't promise easy nights. They never lied to you that way. They only promised that the mind, when you choose to train it with patience instead of punish it with pressure, becomes something extraordinary. Not silent, not fearless. Steady. And steady, in a world this loud, is the most powerful thing you can be. If this reached you tonight, if somewhere in these words you felt a little less alone in your own mind, there's more waiting for you here. Subscribe, not for the content, for the version of yourself that's still being built, night by quiet night.